Hello and welcome to this Adobe Express lesson all about bridges, and today we're going to create a bridges infographic with some information about 3 types of bridges and how their clever design reduces the effects of compression and tension that are acting upon them. So to start with, we're going to press the plus in the top left and we're going to go to landscape. So to start with, I'm just going to add some images of bridges. I've got Wikimedia Commons open over here. For my bridges, I'm going to go for a suspension bridge, an arch bridge and a beam bridge. So I'm going to go up to Wikimedia Commons here and I'm going to search for beam bridge. See what comes up. This one looks pretty good. This is a beam bridge with a train going over it. So I'm just going to right click on this, go to copy image, and I'm going to go to Adobe Express, right click and paste. And then I'm going to add my next 2 bridges. So there we go, I've got my 3 bridges. I've got my beam bridge here, my arch bridge and my suspension bridge. Now I want to make sure the photos are all sort of roughly the same size, so I'm just going to line them up, make sure these pink lines line up. Just check the length is the same. Might just extend that out slightly and do the same for the suspension bridge. So make sure it's lined up at the top and then lined up at the bottom, and then just make sure it's the same length. So I might just cut off a little bit there. So I've got my 3 images. I think I can reduce the size of all of them. Now what I want to do is present them in an interesting way. So we've got a bit of an engineering theme here. So I'm thinking about engineering paper or engineering graph paper maybe. So I'm just going to display these on a bit of paper. At the moment they look a bit basic. I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to search design assets for paper. Let's see what comes up. I think this looks nice. It makes me think of an engineer like sketching an idea and putting it on the wall. So to fit in with that engineering theme, I'm going to display my pictures on this. So at the moment, my picture of a beam bridge here is behind this paper. So I can just bring it in front. If I go to my layers, I can just drag it to the top there. And I just want to make sure it fits like nicely onto my paper here. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to duplicate that a couple of times now. And I'm going to organize my pictures on my page. So there we go, I've organized my pictures. They've got these nice little paper frames to give it a bit of an engineering feel. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to label each of these pictures. So I'm going to go to text, add your text, and I'm just going to start with beam bridge. Just reduce the size, and then I'm going to do the same for my other 2 bridges. So there we go, I've labeled all my bridges. I'm just going to change the font for my 3 labels here. So I'm just going to press, hold the shift key, press all 3 of them, go to my font and see if I can find something that looks a bit more suitable. There we go, I think that looks pretty good. Sort of in fitting with our theme, I think, that style of font. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little text box here and I'm going to give a bit of information about one of my bridges here. And I'm going to just start with the arch bridge and then I'm going to go and do my other 2. So I'm just going to go to add your text and I'm going to just write a couple of sentences about an arch bridge, and in particular how its clever design is designed to reduce the effects of tension and compression, which are the forces which act upon bridges. So there we go, I've just said how arch bridges use an arch design to reduce the effects of tension and compression on the structure. If you imagine a large object in the middle of that bridge, if you look at that picture there, you can see that that compression is being absorbed, it's being taken by all of those stones which make up that arch shape underneath the bridge. So it's a really clever part of an arch bridge's design. So now I'm going to do the same. I'm going to write a sentence or 2 about the beam bridge and a suspension bridge, in particular about how their features help reduce the effects of the forces that are acting upon them. So there we go, I've added some information about beam bridges and suspension bridges here. So I said my beam bridges are horizontal structures that rest on supports called piers, and the longer the bridge, the more supports are necessary to handle the forces of compression and tension. And for the suspension bridge, they use towers and cables to reduce the effects of compression and tension acting upon the bridge, and they're able to be much longer than beam or arch bridges due to this clever design. So I've got my information about my 3 types of bridges. The design is looking a bit boring at the moment, so we're going to add a few a few features to make it look a bit more appealing visually to our reader. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is these bits of text here. I'm going to add a little bit of paper behind them. Again, kind of in with our engineering theme. So I might go to elements. I'm just going to go for paper again and see what comes up. I think this one looks pretty good. It's got a nice drop shadow behind it, which makes it stand out, makes it quite 3-dimensional, gives it some depth. So I'm actually going to right click on this and just say center back for now, which is another way of moving things backwards in the layers or forwards in the layers. I'm going to duplicate it here and do the same here and duplicate it again, and I'll have one over here. Just play with the size there so it fits the text. And I think that's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty neat. I want to play with the background now. So I'm just going to go to backgrounds. It'd be nice to have something that's an engineering theme or a bridge theme or a rivers theme maybe. It's really up to you. Be creative with it. I'm just going to go for river and see what comes up. So I get some various different images. I could click through these and see if there's one that I think kind of fits. A lot of these are quite busy. I will reduce the opacity, so I'll make it a bit see-through just to bring it down a bit. This one might work actually. I'll give it a try. If I click the background again, we can see where we have our opacity slider here. So I might just bring that right back. And I just think it's just a nice sort of subtle design there. I think it kind of goes with the theme. It's kind of old feeling. I think that's quite a nice design style, so I'm going to go for that. I might just also, if I go to design assets, I'm just going to go for graph paper. Because our work has an engineering theme, it might be nice to have some sort of engineering graph paper maybe, see what comes up. Oh, here we go. This is a nice one. So this is like isometric paper. And actually this is an overlay. If we can see, it's quite see-through here. So we can actually use this as an overlay, which means you can just lay it over your work. So I'm just going to increase the size of it. Here we go. This is sort of what an engineer might use to draw their designs on. Now, I don't want this over everything. I actually just want it over the background. So I'm going to right click and say center back. And we can see it's just over our background now. But it's a bit strong for me. So again, I'm just going to reduce the opacity of that. I just want that kind of subtle engineering feel. There we go. I think that's quite subtle, but quite nice, quite fits with our work. Now, at the moment, these kind of titles aren't really working for me. They don't stand out enough. I'm just going to make them bold. And I might just increase the size a little bit and see how we're looking. I think that's looking a lot better. What I'm going to do now is I kind of want some arrows. Again, with this sort of engineering theme, I want them to look like they're hand-drawn. So I'm going to go to elements and I'm just going to search for arrow. See what comes up. I like this one here. This looks really, really hand-drawn. And I'm just going to use the arrow to basically point the text to the actual picture of the beam bridge. And I'm just going to duplicate this one here. And I can actually rotate it round. So this one's for the arch bridge. And I'll do the same for the suspension bridge. There we go. I think that's looking really nice. It's fitting with our engineering theme. We've got those sort of hand-drawn arrows. We've got the paper. We've got the engineering graph paper at the back. I think that's looking really, really nice. I might just, with our background image actually, I'm just going to go to effects and I just might just darken it slightly. Yeah, so I went to effects. I've just clicked on the background. In our layers, I've clicked the background there, gone to darken. You could even colorize it, find something. They all seem a bit bright to me. I just think darken looks nice. It helps the bits of paper stand out a bit better, and I think that's looking really nice. So finally, the last thing is just to add some kind of title that says bridges, basically. So I'm going to go to text. You could go to add your text, or you could use one of these templates here, see what you come up with. I'm going to go to view all on signs and labels and see what comes up, see if there's something that fits our work. I think this looks quite nice. It says shop now. We're going to change that to bridges. I think this is nice. It looks kind of old school. It looks kind of a sign you might get in an old railway or something. So I might just have a title, play around with its positioning. I might need to move some things, but I think that's looking pretty good. So let's have a look. There we go. That's our bridges infographic. We've got 3 pictures of bridges. We've got a little bit of information about each one, and we've chosen some design elements that fit in with our engineering theme. Once you're done, you can download it, press download. You can download a PNG, just press download. It will download it to your computer. You can also share this work with someone. So you could press share. You could share it to Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams, or you could just press publish to web, give your work a title, and press publish link. And it will generate a link which you can then share with whoever you like. So there we go. It tells us at the bottom our link is ready. We can press copy link. Just open a new tab, paste the link in there, and we can see our finished infographic all about bridges and 3 different types of bridges.